got to get into our next session, something that I've been waiting for. Well, we looked at our program for today. I'm going to let you introduce our next speaker, Arthur.
Thank you very much. No, I really appreciate it. What a great session that was too, Lisa. Thank you. Our next speaker, I'll start off by saying this. Sometimes feedback can be brutal. The more honest, the more confronting at times. The highest feedback rated agent for Black Salt 2024 is our next guest speaker. So we've got Joel back to grace the stage again this year. The feedback last year was just awesome. Joel, I was actually going through the feedback cards. It was Joel Hood, Joel Hood, Joel Hood. You know, I learned, I listened, I'm going to implement. It was just, it was an amazing talk that you gave last year, Joel, and today's going to be no different. Let me say this, Joel Hood has certainly raised the bar, but ask him and he'll gladly tell you that it needed to be raised. A master at script and dialogue with an uncanny knack of knowing when to throw in a pause or two, he insists on near perfection. And his results are proof that he has found the winning formula. Earlier this year, I made the statement, 0 to hero. That's how I introduced him. Well, I'm going to change that slightly now. It's going to be 0 to superhero. I know he doesn't like that, but what he's done in his marketplace, a new marketplace, gone to Queensland, up in Coolum, right? I think he's a keen surfer. He gets out every morning. God knows why anyone wants to get in the water with sharks, but anyway. Keen surfer, gets out every morning. He's got his family wrapped around him up there. He's just one of the nicest people ever. Become known and you're half a chance, he'll tell you. Coolum Beach locals were convinced that he was selling everything in Coolum Beach. And he hadn't even started yet, but he warmed the area up. Let's hear from Joel Hood on how to become an agent of choice. Joel, up you come, mate. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, mate.
Good on you, mate.
Thank you. So what do we got here?
Here's your clicker. Press the green one.
one?
Yep, that's the one.
Alrighty. Coming in loud and clear? Yes? Alrighty. Before we get started, so I looked around the room and everyone was just starting to come down a little bit coming into lunch. So everybody up, just 10, 20 seconds. Shake out the legs. No yawning in this presentation. We're going to get moving, all right? Move your arms, stretch your legs, have a drink. Water. All right, let's get going. A dog with 2 dicks. A dog with 2 dicks. What is that? A dog with 2 dicks. I'm still laughing. I'm taking that. A dog with 2 dicks. What I love about our industry, obviously, is what we're seeing today. So we've had 4 different speakers, and everybody's doing it slightly differently. So there's no right or wrong, and I think it's for you to figure out what suits you best. I laughed when Lisa went live. I said to Joe, I don't even know what going live is. I've got no idea. So I'm a bit of a simple individual. I like talking to people. That's my preference, is to get face-to-face and on the phone, spend time with them and get to understand them. It's been a full-on year, and I'm going to push as much energy into this presentation as possible. But, and it's a great time of year to do your planning, but at the same time, it's also taxing. So do your absolute best in the next couple of weeks to do as much business as you can, but please take as much information from today and prepare for next year. Because that's what I'm doing. I love this time of year, and I think I'm still recovering from the Christmas party 3 weeks ago, I'm going to be honest. It was an absolute blast. Who are we? So this is my family. We're a little bit older now, the girls. So I married Sarah when I was 23. We've been together since high school. We've had highs and lows. She's now in the business with me. It's been a fantastic move, having Sarah in the business with us. And I've got a 14-year-old, an 11-year-old, and an 8-year-old girl. So there's 5 of us in total. And we made the shift to Queensland in 2020 with the rest of Victoria. But my wife and I did have a short stint there when she did university in 2007 to 2010. And that for us was going to be home. But when the first daughter, Isla, came along, we wanted to raise the kids with the parents who were on the Mornington Peninsula in Victoria. And after 10 years of plumbing, I jumped into real estate in 2013. Worked with my auntie and uncle for a year, had a really good start. but I was gravitating towards a gentleman in the marketplace that was doing phenomenal things, video for every property, really likable individual, really positive feedback in the marketplace, and I wanted to be a part of that. And that was Jared Carmen, and I joined him at the end of 2014, and he set a very solid base for what is now my established career, so very grateful. Today we're going to talk about rapid growth strategies. So my next slide will probably talk about some numbers, but essentially I had a 2014 to 2020 career in the Mornington Peninsula in Victoria with an EBU, 3 assistants. There was 4 of us, and we did up to a couple million GCI, just under 110, 120 sales towards the end of it. A phenomenal team working in Jared's office, and moved to Queensland and just needed a bit of a break. So speaking about taking a year off, my year and a half was working with corporate for Agents Agency and bringing on team members, helping them to develop their business and learning quite a bit myself, as well as trying to teach them what I knew. And in that time, I've very much learned this is, for me, in terms of listing and selling property and working with clients. I love my team. There's 16 of us in the office now, and that's going to be us. I'll put that out there to the universe. We're not going bigger. It's been big in a short space of time. But I learned I love to list and sell property. I love to be in people's lounge rooms, talking to them, learning about them, helping them. And I said you're right, Maria. I said I will be in an appraisal in someone's lounge room in my 80s, and I'll croak it there on the couch. So hopefully not. But I know I love it. And when I started in Queensland, what I wanted to do was get to where I was in Victoria as quickly as possible. And there was feedback that it was very cliquey in my marketplace, it was going to be challenging, things were a little bit different in Queensland. And don't get me wrong, there are differences. Legislation is different, you can't quote price for an auction, contracts and conveyances are a lot more involved with the process. I would say my experience with buyers and sellers wasn't as good. I think the professionalism in Victoria was a lot higher than what it is in Vic, so I was treated as an agent without as much respect, and I wanted to see that change, and I think we're doing that now with the calibre of agents that are coming into our marketplace. So I'm going to talk about outsourcing for extra leads, prospecting all lead fields today, leveraging through a team, and making sure that you've then got processes for productivity, because you start to get busy and you don't want your service levels to drop. You don't want to be promising something in the lounge room and then you can't deliver for the client. So Queensland was the ultimate case study. It was a cold start, no past clients or referrals. I waited until, I think Manos said to me in Feb of 2022, it was still very good. Market peaked in about April, May when the federal election happened. Do you not want to get in there, Joel? Do you want to get started while things are good? My preference is to wait to when things were bad, because I know how to sell property well. I know how to work with sellers, I know how to work buyers, and when others can't put deals together, I'm going to do it. And that's when I grew market share. So I had obviously no results or track record in Queensland, but the one difference is I did go in well-trained and very highly motivated. I was extremely motivated to show people that it is no different, doesn't matter what market you're in, Batemans Bay or inner Sydney or the Mornington Peninsula or the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. It's all the same. You just have to adapt what you want to do into your marketplace and be consistent. So this is core numbers. Like, I think it's important to have context. I don't like to talk about things that I haven't done. I like to listen to people that have done what I want to do. I'm not necessarily super keen on taking advice from people who haven't been there. So I'd like to just show that we've obviously done these figures and where I believe am qualified to speak today if this is what you want to do. So Joel Hood Property in Victoria, technically launched in 2016, but I worked under Jared as EV Mornington Peninsula in 2015. And we saw a very rapid amount of growth through a couple of team members coming on in 2016 and 2017, and made REB top 100 agents in 2018-19 from memory. And then obviously I worked just a few months, I think it was 4, and then handed the reins over to a past team member, and so it was obviously a short year in 2020. A break, jumped into it in August of 2022. We did a few deals getting into the end of the year. We fell just shy of the million GCI for the calendar year of 2023. And we've just broken 2 million for 2024. So things are obviously happening quite quickly for us in our team. I want to talk about the mindset you need to take market share and to actually do some damage into your marketplace, because it is a long year. Like, I'm experiencing it right now. And you need to be prepared not just for January and February, you need to be able to go the full 12 months. So I'm a big believer in confidence, not arrogance. I said this to my very good mate and past colleague, Adrian Calcedo, who sometimes moved across the line a little bit. But you have to have confidence, because in the lounge room, the client wants to hear how you're going to sell their property for the most. And they have to believe and feel what you're saying. If you're just saying it because I've told you to say it, it's very different than if you believe in how you're going to achieve that result and you're going to convey that to the seller. But you don't want to cross that line that all of a sudden you're arrogant and you're talking about your results, as I just have. But clearly I'm not doing that with the client. You're talking about them and their situation, how you're going to help them. Clients will obviously feel that belief. Intrinsically focused, not extrinsically focused. I've stole this from Phil Harris. He spoke in 2015 at the first Black Salt in February, and it was a really moving conference for me. Very thankful that Manos, Maria and Arthur put it on back then. And what he was speaking about is, don't worry about other people. So a few things. If we're talking, I'm talking about we and us. I'm not saying me and I. I'm talking about my team. So it might just be you, but you might be part of a network. Or you might be just you who's in an office. You and an assistant. Could be you and your bloody dog. It's we, it's us, not me and I, because the client wants to hear about a team or individuals outside of yourself. Lift them up. Also, don't focus on the opposition. So my goals are not your goals. I'm not worried about what my competition are doing. I find too often, like Lisa just spoke about it, that other agent, in the time that other agent rang her to tell her not to do that video, she could have listed and sold another property. What a waste of her time. And good on Lisa for just saying, stuff you and I'm going to do my own thing. So very much please, I see too often people look on Facebook or on realestate.com and they're looking at their results and they're looking at somebody else and they're just judging themselves too harshly. I know my path and I know where the next 12 months is going, and that's what I'm focused on. I'm not focused on other people. Obviously an obsession on momentum. So that means that when I started, we went with a bang. So we threw a lot of money in straight away, get a billboard, pointer boards out every weekend. I'm going to speak about all the lead fields, but we invested money very quickly to get momentum. If you use the analogy of a big bloody heavy rock and you go to push it and you give it a nudge and it moves a little bit, and it stops. And then a month later, you give it a nudge and it moves a little bit, versus I just wanted to straight away get it moving. And the thing with a big bloody rock, when it's got momentum, it will propel itself. It won't require your assistance, and that's what we're noticing right now. Reverse engineering, please make sure you do your goal setting. Manos runs obviously brilliant goal setting, and work out what you're actually wanting to achieve for the year and reverse engineer it into an appraisal number. I only focus on my appraisal number. I don't worry about anything else. It takes care of itself. I will list 1 in 3 properties that I go into, so my appraisal list ratio is around 33%. This is the numbers to end of October, so I've done a bit of business since then still. We did 259 appraisals, so we'll break 300 for the year, 81 listings at that stage. This is a really interesting number. So 57 lost. And I went, oh, that's a bit high. And I went back through the book that Manos provides, it'll be on your table. And I highlighted all the ones that actually sold. And it turns out 32 of the 57 that I lost didn't sell, as in withdrew from the market or yet to sell. And that is a great lesson that not all business is good business. Or there's also plenty of vendors that I probably should check in with. Not harass, but just see how they're going with their campaign. So be very mindful, because I believe if I'd taken on those 57, I probably wouldn't have been able to do the rest of the business to sell for the clients that actually were realistic, that wanted to invest in marketing and wanted to come on the journey with me. So systematically take market share. So this is what we do. So I spoke about this in May, and I know we have some returnees, so I don't want to just do all the same. I want to try and bring in some new information. But if you weren't here in May, this is essentially, in my opinion, all the lead fields that you can tap into to take market share. I'm not strong with social media. I've put social media presence because it's not my strong suit. But if people do look us up, I think we're professional, and I think the girls do a good job, being my wife and Caitlin. Our big thing is farm area drops. and cold calling initially. So in the first 12 months, more than 50% of our appraisals came from farm area drops and cold calling. So I outsourced the cold calling. I would obviously do calls myself, but let's leverage it quicker. If I can make 50 calls in a day and they can make another 100, there's 150, so it's 3 times what I can currently do. And then I get booked and I'm going to do appraisals. They're still booking me appraisals. Database purchase. You can buy data now. Be mindful, obviously, if they're on the do not call register and how you go about that. But we did a very small data purchase, and we've recently, after such great success with that 1,300 clean contacts, done a very large purchase to suffice for the entire office. And it's amazing when people are coming through open homes and we check them in on our CRM, that their address is popping in there already. So as in they're already in the system, we've never really met them before, but straight away, great. Potential vendor, focus is obviously selling the property for the client, but we are aware they may have a property to sell. Referrals, they don't come up straight away, but geez, they steamroll quickly. Look for any property management departments that don't do sales. So I had one lady where I was selling a property, the client called me off a couple of reviews that I had. They had a duplex, and I sold both properties which were tenanted, and the property manager had an agency that didn't actually sell. And I said to her, in future, I'm more than happy to pay you a 20% referral fee for any that need to sell, to flick them to myself. And she's now sent us 5 or 6 properties in the last 12 months. So be generous, be reasonable. It's still a very highly profitable exercise for me. It's a win-win. Email marketing, we're just fortnightly emails, fortnightly farm drops, I should say, as well. And we're just using ActivePipe. Door knocking, hotspotting, it's definitely dropped off, I'll be honest. We have been unable to keep up with our program on that. Video, I spoke about it last time. Every property gets a video. There is 1 or 2 that are tenanted, that are really poorly presented, and so therefore we may not shoot the inside of it. But the whole idea is, I have 2 beliefs with video. Number 1 is that I will get more exposure for the client if I video it, and being more interactive is far better than just the photos. And number 2, people don't like real estate agents. And I say this to my sellers. They go, oh, the video is all about you. Well, it's actually not. I want the client, the buyer, to be comfortable when they get to the open home. If they've watched me introduce the property briefly, it's not all about me, and then an outro for the video, they're going to come to the property like they've already known me. So if they walk through the home and they don't have that sort of worry about this real estate agent taking their details, they may already feel like home. And all the vendors nod and they go, yep, that's right. It's all vendor paid. So I believe in it. I believe it gets them a good result. And I believe that I can make clients feel more comfortable, but I'm not physically paying for it. Print media, we are exposed into the marketplace. Again, we're now 2 pages in the local paper plus a booklet. It is vendor paid advertising. Their properties are in there, but Joel Hood branding is now out into the marketplace. We've had a billboard for close to 2 years. We've changed it up. We've had a bit of fun with it. I coach a netball team. My daughter plays on a Thursday night. One of the parents said, if they win, will you chuck them up on the billboard? I said, of course I will. We lost. The next season, will you put them up? We will. 3 finals in a row I was coaching and they lost. And I thought, where's the exit? Because the parents are coming for me. The following season we had a win. We did a professional photo shoot at the netball courts. Girls were in a big V. I was not in it, but Joel Property was up in the corner, and I went on the billboard for 3 to 4 months. So much talk at the coffee shop, nothing about myself, obviously, but about the brand and how good it was for women's sport to put the girls up there. So, think of doing things a little bit differently. Pointer boards are at it every Saturday. We saturate the marketplace, and we moved into a shop front in 2023, September, so we've only been in the shop front for just over a year. We've now bought 2 of the offices, and we've leased a 3rd. And I think it's, for us, it's been a really good strategic move. This is a really important one, and it doesn't matter what marketplaces you're in, because I understand there's some that are struggling a little bit at the moment. Are you listing to list, or are you listing to sell? We sell just about everything we list. We rarely withdraw. I think I'm very good at getting a vendor educated, on board with print media, with vendor paid advertising, and getting them prepared for the sale campaign. I've come from a marketplace in Vic that is very good at getting vendors educated on price, maybe not so much for the market at the moment, because it's obviously challenging, but understanding how to negotiate up. And I've gone to a marketplace where high prices are promised, and it's always about coming down. So I've got great case studies of where we've gone right up 10% over the list price, because Offers Over still exists in Queensland. What a fantastic location. And I believe now we've got a process in place to obviously get a great result for every property. So create a clear plan for your campaign. Explain to the sellers, pull out a calendar. This is what's going to happen on these dates. This is when we're going to have a conversation if we don't obviously see enough buyers come through the property. I do off-market, and it is off-market, and then pre-market, and then obviously we set from there. Weekly vendor reporting. They get a realestate.com and domain report on a Monday. If I've got a concern, obviously I reach out to them. I can breeze over the stats. Maybe we need to change the thumbnail. Maybe we need to send out a new e-brochure. But essentially, I'm keeping an eye on it. Wednesday's vendor reports from Agent Box that we use are extremely thorough. Hot, warm, cold, where they see value, not just in the drop-down box, it's written in there. Client sees value at 1.4 because of the other properties they went to at 1.6. They had a pool, they had a tennis court, they had things that obviously generated a price that should be more around that 1.6 mark. And a lot of the time, clients come to me and they understand it's time for a change of price. Set expectations for off-market versus on-market. So again, if you're promising clients you've got buyers, and we do saturate our marketplace, and we now have market share in a couple of the suburbs, so therefore we do have a lot of the buyers, I have to explain to them that the number of people coming to the properties for off-market will not be the same as on-market. These will be people that can purchase now, that are looking in the core area, so therefore they're not neighbours. You do an open, you'll get 5 or 6 groups through, 3 are just neighbours or researching, so we're going to bring 2 or 3 groups through that are very motivated to purchase, educated, ready to go. And like I said before, not all business is good business. So with that 57 of the 32 that hadn't sold, you don't want to be chasing all of them. Know your point of difference. So this is mine. So what is yours? You sit in the lounge room, client wants an elevator pitch. What are you doing differently to the competition? So for me, I'm all about team. We have an amazing team. And I've got pictures of them, and the good thing is a lot of the clients have actually met the team, because we always have 2 people at an open home. So they've met someone at the front door, and then I'm inside. And in the next open, it might be a different team member, and then I'm inside. So they're getting a feel of how we operate, and a lot of our business is now coming from those opens because they want their property to be treated the same. Ability to relate to interstate buyers. So take the negative of I wasn't born and bred in Queensland and turn it into a positive. My parents live in Manly and Sydney. I've gotten a good feel of their marketplace. I now understand what Sydney buyers are going through, what their stamp duties are, and what their regulations and contracts look like. And I sold in Victoria for a long time. So that's where a lot of our buyers come from on the Sunshine Coast. So I've turned it into a positive. 2 team members at every open we spoke about. Clear strategies, so exactly how we're going to sell the property, when we'll go online, when the groups will come through off-market, when we'll go on-market, and obviously when we'll have our first open homes, our official ones. Lows days on market. So for one of my core areas, Peregian Springs, I haven't pulled it out yet, but we will for the new year. So we're number 1 as an agency, and our average days on market is 31. Second is 95, and third is 99. And I talk to them about why. I say we started a price that's going to create competition, and we're going to negotiate up, guys. Versus the alternate is, hey, start at a high price and waste your time for the first 30 days, pull out the realestate.com graph, showing how the views drop, and then once you get to the right price, barely anybody's looking. Which way would you like to go? It's becoming easier and easier to get the business now. So negotiating up, not down. And then clean and specific around property marketing. My VPA is the highest in my marketplace. And so we do have to explain why we feel it's a good investment. And generally, we get clients to understand and agree with that. Sometimes we'll compromise on some things here or there, and sometimes I'll throw in things here or there. And the reason being is our brand is too important to not put out a floor plan or not put out a video or cheap out on advertising, because we always like twilight shoots, and I don't want to compromise because the brand online is really important. Oh, wrong one. The team. Team is the greatest reason for my growth. Our growth. Got me. So I believe that this is one of the toughest things to actually be able to execute in real estate. It's an ongoing challenge because team members grow, and how do they grow? But if I can give some advice, because I had a fantastic team in Vic, and I feel like I've got a fantastic team in Queensland, amazing people, but you have to have clear lanes and clear roles, so really clear. If they're watching, I've definitely had some first couple of months, you're starting to work out how they are as individuals. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Which areas are they gravitating to most? How quickly are they going to move from being just working with buyers to chasing sellers to all of a sudden managing campaigns? So I personally find that after that period of time, you can be very clear with them, and we have such a clear plan for 2025. It is going to be a brilliant year in a marketplace that is going quite well, with potentially some interest rate cuts. It is the perfect storm in my opinion, and I'm really looking forward to what they can do. Weekly one-on-one. So I sit with the team one-on-one every single Thursday and Friday. A couple of team members have Thursdays off, a couple of team members have Fridays off, so catch up on the days before they go away. Sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes I say, is there much to talk about today? And other times we'll sit for 30 minutes. Are they on track? Are they off track? Are they having struggles in the office? Is there a clash with any of the other people, which hasn't really happened, but hey, it's good just to have that out there. Is it too noisy? Are they struggling to make their calls because the office is too noisy? Our air conditioning broke down recently. What a nightmare. So it's understanding where they're coming from, but how they're going personally as well. Is the family and home life going well? Because if it's not going well, it's going to show up at work. Investment in training, we're big into it. We've booked Lee Woodward, so we're going there in Brisbane in February, 10 of us, pay for the 2-day course, and pay for overnight accommodation, a room each, and we'll go to ARIC this year, and again, pay for that. We're in Southeast Queensland, obviously it's a bit easier to get to those particular conferences, but that's the whole team, and Joel would probably is paying for it because I understand that if I can invest in them, they will repay the favour to the business. Dialogue training, it's absolutely critical. Absolutely critical. If you don't have the dialogue to teach team members, you need to find someone who can. Jared Carmen is the best in the business. Go chase him in the break if you want some tutoring. Before hiring, review the percentage of productivity of each of the existing team members. This is a really important one that I was given from a past trainer. He said, Joel, how's your team travelling? Tell me the percentages of capacity they're running at. So, okay, I'm at like 105. Mel, she's cooked, she's at 100. Adrian, he's done, he's at 100, and young Tyler was probably sitting around 80. He still had some growth, but he was very close. He said, great, you need to hire, plain and simple. But I look around the team at the moment, and they're just getting going, 60, maybe 70%. We've got heaps of scope for them to improve. I don't need to hire new people. I need to train the existing team members. So please look at your team and go, okay, are we ready for another? Or are there people in the team I just need to help get that bit better? Succession plans, understand where they want to go. So all my team members want to be listing and selling agents, and I'm facilitating a space in the business that will work for them. If they want to fly the little wings and go elsewhere, I will back them 100%. It's okay. I love to list and sell. That's what I'll be doing. If they want to come along for the ride in the Joel Hood property business, we will create a marketplace or create an office space that they want to work in, and we'll support them as best we possibly can. But everyone's got their own goals. Critical questions. This is it. This is it. So out of any of the slides today, please just focus on this. Respect your time and ask the right questions. So this year I've lost so much time. Mouse and Maria know it's been very time poor this year about trying to maintain that work-life balance. But business has gotten very busy and team members have grown and they require my attention as well. When I say put the picture together, when you're speaking to the client, start to figure out their journey. Ask questions to understand what they need, what they want, what's their history. If it doesn't make sense, something's not right. So someone comes to, a team member comes to me with an offer and I go and I ask them a series of questions. And if it doesn't make sense, that buyer is a cool-off risk. That something is not right here. You need to understand, had they made an offer? If they did, what was the price? Why didn't they go through with it? Because we hear all the time in our industry, oh, that agent never got back to me, or that property had an issue with the building and pest. But how do you know? Did you ask the client that made the offer particular questions to figure out what was going on in their previous real estate experiences? Motivation, destination, you stole that from me, Manos. Maybe I stole it from you. That's the way it goes. So Manos said timing in the middle. For me, I can figure out people's motivation, their timing based on motivation, destination. So every buyer and every seller, all you want to know is what is their motivation, what is their destination. So a client calls you in for an appraisal, and that's all I'm trying to get to. So none of these scripts with 20 different questions. If that's what you need to get started with, absolutely. But eventually it becomes conversational where you're just chatting to them about everyday things, and then you're taking those everyday things and you're forming a question out of it that is actually painting a picture of what they want. So where do they want to go? Why have they called you in? What are their previous experiences in real estate? Last time you sold, it's your first time. Would you like me to go through a little bit more detail in this presentation so you fully understand what the real estate sales process is going to look like? Or they've sold 10 times. They don't want you to go through all the nitty-gritty. I say to people, am I the first agent in? You're the fourth. Okay. Well, I don't want to bore you with the same. What would you like to know from me? And it's done in 15 minutes. I remember one recently, they had 3 agents in, and I said, can I ask you why you didn't appoint any of the others? And she said, no, I liked them. Yeah. Okay, well, I don't want to bore you with the same jargon. What would you like to know from me? And she said, I'm just a little bit worried about where I'm going to go. And I said, so what I can hear from you is that you're more concerned about where to go than what you're actually going to be getting for your property. You actually want to know your destination. So if I can help you with that, would that be more important than selling your current home? Yes. Can you buy without selling? No. Okay, can I do the 2 for you at the same time? Sure. It was done in 15 minutes. It was great. So it's just about asking questions. So prospecting becomes conversational. Team member said the other day, I went to dinner at the Surf Club on Wednesday and Thursday night, and got there on Thursday night, and it was the in-laws, it was the Christmas with the in-laws, it was the out you go in-laws, back to Victoria. No, they were fantastic. And I ran into multiple clients in the surfy. And Joel Hood in the past kind of liked to just be in my own space a little bit. But Joel Hood in the present, because I believe I live where I love. I love Coolum Beach. I love the Sunshine Coast. And I really connect with my community. We sponsor a lot of events, a lot of different teams and people. And so I like being out and about. And I rode the elevator with an old couple that I helped them with purchasing a property, and then brought them over to the table and sort of introduced them to the family. And one of my team members said, I think I'd struggle with that a little bit. And I say, don't. And that's why I choose my clients, because I actually, with the ones that we've lost, I'm happy for them to go, because I don't want to talk to them at the surf club. So work out who you want to work with. But prospecting becomes conversational. So routinely, I'll get listings at the coffee shop, I'll get listings obviously at the surf club, I'll get listings out in the bloody surf. People ask me, they go, how's the market? Have you got anything in Marcoola? I'm looking at this particular patch. And I go, yeah, netball courts, same thing. I deliberately didn't wear Joel property today. Mickey was picking on me saying, Joel, we know who you are. I forgot to pack business shirts. I just forgot. So I'm wearing this. But this is what I wear to the netball courts. I don't now, but for the first 12 months, let's get it out there. The client's journey needs to make sense, and that was getting back to putting the picture together. Understand your buyers. We rarely have deals fall over. Rarely. And I rarely have situations where the seller changes their mind around price, because we're getting better and better with preparing them. With a lot of buyers, I had one just this week, yesterday, it's Tuesday, so yesterday, and the buyer said to me, it's a good price, but I don't love the house. Love the location, but don't love the house. So instead of signing it up, he's not ready in my opinion. He's not ready. He's a cool-off risk. I just simply said to him, Dave, I don't want you to buy a house for the sake of buying a house, mate. I said, I'll help you find something you really want. Oh, no, I think I do like it. I'm like, well, what does your wife think? Yeah, she likes it. I'm like, do you need to come back through and see it before you make that commitment? Because I don't want you changing your mind. The vendor's going to go through too much emotion. I don't want you changing your mind. Made him want the property. So just little things like that, make sure they want the property. If they don't want the property, don't sign the contract. Don't get to that stage, because it's very frustrating when it falls over. It's extremely upsetting for the seller. We're going to be right on time here. Lessons. So I did speak about this last time. I took bits and pieces from what I thought were still worth revisiting. Win the war, don't sweat the lost battles. So what that is, again, if you're focused on your path and you know where you're trying to get to, do not worry about a little lost listing along the way. It's a lesson. May this year, when I sat in my chair over there, the conference, and I spoke, I had a few losses in the one day. It stung. I couldn't even get out of my chair and go make the call and try and get them back. I was focused on the conference. But at the end of the day, if you're thinking 1, 2, 5, 10 years, in my case, I'm 38, I'm thinking 30, 40, 50 years of death in the lounge room, then one loss here or there does not matter. It doesn't matter. So you have to forge your own path. Learn from those losses. What could you have done differently? You have to take ownership for the losses that you have. Do not blame. If I hear a flip of a coin, Again, I personally haven't had a vendor say it for a long time. But if someone said to me, oh, they flipped a coin, you didn't find out what really drove them to make that decision, guys. That was your fault. You know, I had a client that said to me when I lost last time, the agent quoted a higher price. Yeah, he did, and he was wrong, but I didn't prove him wrong. That's my mistake. So you have to own it. How can you make yourself better next time? Consistency is a minimum 12-month strategy. I sat with a mortgage broker at a Bank of Queensland lunch in the middle of the year. Drops, do they really work, he said. I'm like, yeah, and he goes, oh, I did Noosaville. Didn't get a bloody call. I'm like, that's it? I said, you've got to keep going, mate. You've got to keep going. You have to be consistent. So that's why I like looking at the lead fields, and you pick what you're going to do, and you budget it. None of this, I get 3 months in, I've run out of money. Work out what your finances look like. What can you commit to over a 12-month cycle? But you have to do it for the whole year. We did 12 months with a handful of things, and then the next year we're leveraging again. So we're bringing in more data, more team members, more core area, so more drops, more calls. But we started here and we've grown it over here. Financially, that's what we could afford to do. Get as many balls in the air as possible and manage their flight path. Ryan Serhant, if you saw him speak at ARIC last year, that's what he said. And I laughed. I was like, that's so true. That's what I love doing. So you basically throw them all up, and then along the way, you're sort of working them out. You're catching them where need be, which vendors need to be spoken to, which buyers need to be spoken to. And essentially, rather than just going one up, yeah, and then you go one up, it's a slow process. Throw them all up there and try and get as many deals done as you can. Remain humble. It's just real estate. Like, I just, again, what was the chat about ego and the killer? And I probably had my moments back in Vic, but you know, put smart people and switched on people around you that are just going to just keep you down a little bit, because we're just selling houses. You know, yes, we're making a difference in people's lives, but I don't see the need for it to become something completely egotistical. And sure, you know, people say, oh, you know, you used to be the mayor of Main Street, you know, now the king of Coolum and whatnot. I have a little chuckle. I go, oh, that's nice, you know, but that's not what I wake up in the morning thinking. I just get on with it. Get face-to-face, and on the phone comes first. So all I'm telling the team presently is please just spend as much time as you can speaking to team members and booking appointments. Just speak to them. I have the loveliest team. I had an agent in the marketplace who was a past friend from Vic, and he called me, he said, Joel, are you a Mormon? I said, what do you mean? He goes, you got like 10 wives? Like, what do you mean? Because it was Jansen on one end and me on the other on the billboard, and then there was like 10 chicks in between. I had a little chuckle. But I have predominantly people between the ages of 35 and 45 with young families, and they're all just very real people. And I think they relate exceptionally well to clients. So I just say to them, guys, just get in front of those clients. Introduce yourself. Ask about their day. Ask about their needs. And it's so exciting because in the last couple of weeks, Jansen and I were in a listing presentation together, and Jared and I used to be very good together if we go in and list together. One's got to be the alpha, leads the listing presentation, the other's support. You don't want to be jumping in on top of each other. So in one particular one Jared and I did, he was going, and the client just would not sign, and then I'd come with a left hook and try and get them across the line. And we eventually got there. And I've been teaching the team, okay, just listen, don't be silent. There's no point in taking a second person in to literally just sit there and do nothing. You're there to contribute, but be very mindful. I'm taking the client down a path. Some will get there in 10 minutes, other people will take half an hour before we ask for the business. And it's just so exciting to hear the team now ask the questions that I'm about to ask. So they jump in knowing when to do it. So for them, obviously, getting face-to-face and on the phone, they're learning how to do things the right way. Every interaction with the community is brand representation. Everything you do. So I don't have to wear a Joel Hood property polo. People know who I am. I don't have branding on the car anymore. Everything you do, everything you say, everything your team does is brand representation. I hear very positive things, and I'm very mindful that that does not change. And the moment that changes, then that person has to move, or that person has to pull back into line, because brand representation is extremely important. And great perspective. I'm going to jump one just before I finish. Present. Be present. I'm present today. I am absolutely present with this room. I woke up not 100% this morning, but I am on stage. I am present with you guys. You've invested your time, your money to come here, to learn, to have a big 2025. When I sit in the lounge room with a client, I am not thinking about anything else other than them, and I am working out their journey and dotting the points together to get to the destination. The phone can vibrate as much as it wants. I don't care. I can be distracted by kids, all the rest of it. I am focused on them. So be focused. Be focused with your family. Be focused with your kids. Be focused with your clients, with your staff. Always be focused. Great perspective is an underrated quality. So I'm just finishing with that. So for me, everyone's got something. You know, Christine, we heard this morning, she's had some tough things happen, and so have I. But at the end of the day, that has gotten me to the best place so quickly. So my youngest daughter has a terminal illness. They said she wouldn't live till 8. She turns 9 in February. I think they're wrong. Sarah thinks they're wrong. We're now going, better redesign the house because she could be around for a while. Kind of make a little bit of a joke of it. But things don't bother me. Someone cuts me off on the road, I don't care. I lose a listing, I don't care. So look at your situation. If you are sweating the small stuff, if you're getting really upset over small things, get some perspective. Take a year off and go, traveling. Go see people that are in a worse position than you. How good is Australia? Literally, in 2 years, we came to Queensland with no mortgage, in a good financial position, kind of went semi-retired. I thought, geez, I'm 36, what the hell am I doing? I'm bored, and don't really need to work. Don't really need to work at this level. But I love it, and Australia and Queensland and the industry as a whole allows you to do this. Change your family tree. When I heard that, change your family tree, I thought, yeah, I'm going to help out the kids and their kids. And if my parents need a hand, which they don't, they're in a good position, but the in-laws, anybody, I want to be able to help. So I just think at the point, sometimes I don't do a journal in the morning. I don't do all the great things that you're supposed to do as a real estate agent. Go for a run and all the rest of it. I surf, I live the life I want to live. But I have perspective that I can make a big difference, and when things go wrong, it's not that big a deal. All right, so I just hope you guys have a fantastic 2025. Please make a date to do your plans. So I personally don't do them before Christmas, so I'm going to review in the next week. I'm cooked. I will have a nice week and a half off, probably get close to the end of December, and that's when the creative thoughts start coming into my mind about next year. But you have to book it in. For the love of God, book it in, plan for the next year, because I'm going to I won't come back. That's it. But I'm writing 3 million next year. That's what's happening.
Thank you. Thank you, Joel. That was absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you.
I think what I heard there at the end, though, was this magic mic drop moment. And I know everyone around me all looked at each other, and you made this statement. I've never heard it before.
What did I say?
I want everyone to write it down. Change your family tree. What a powerful way to end an absolutely brilliant presentation. Thank you so much, Jared. Thank you. Joel, sorry. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for sharing. Sorry, Jared. Hey, in my thoughts.